Bring that up there. There, we got our sound check. Let me turn down. There we go. Sometimes it's nice to give out a good growl. President Trump did that the other day when he was talking to Justin Trudeau. And which brings me to my subject. Justin Trudeau leaned over and he called him, he said, "Hey, Donald." Sarcastically, as a quip, he did that. And then Donald leaned over and he went, he turned his head like that. It was kind of funny, and I laughed at it. But it brings me to what I'm talking about today. I just got caught up, and it's some of the most damaging events in my life was from people that just get caught up in things. I don't know if you know what I mean about with that, so I'll explain it to it. Life's a whirlwind, and sometimes things come around. You start swirling around in that whirlwind. You get caught up in that whirlwind. It could be drama. It could be a lot of things. It could be money, drama. It could be events. It could be like you're living a new lifestyle. Sometimes with Christians, they get all the Jesus in them. Woo! They're going to get all the Jesus in them. And they're like, I just got caught up in it. And they're on fire with it. And that's what happens here at Mgtow. You come to Mgtow and you get all caught up in it. And you get all on fire with everything that's going on and the new people you are meeting. And it's exciting. It's a very exciting thing. I won't take that away from any man. The newness of Mgtow is very exciting. It's very pleasurable. It's an honest place. Oops, did you see that? Yeah, it's an honest place where we talk, and then you get excited about that honesty. But sometimes with that honesty comes a lot of shenanigans. One of the most damaging events in my life, some of the most damaging events in my life is, and when I look back and I ask the people, because that's what I do in my life, I try to discuss things and I try to figure out why these things happen. But some of the most damaging things in my life was with the excuse that came after it was I just got caught up into it. I asked my brother, he was involved with the attempted murder on me, why. He's in a prison right now in Tennessee for the rest of his life. And his excuse, he looked at me and he said, I just got caught up in it. It's a coward's excuse for me. And it brings back triggering moments of extreme pain in my life. I don't know if you've ever been poisoned. You don't know what's going on. All of a sudden, there's a darkness in the world, and your world, as you know, it ends. Everything about that ends. Your thought processes end. Anything you got going ends. They essentially end your world, and that's a far extreme to people that just get caught up in things. Gaslighting, people that do gaslighting, they just get caught up in the drama and the emotions of these things, and then they figure out a tricky little way to manipulate life. And then if you ask them at the end why they did it, there's some excitement involved with the moment, with what was happening, the new adventures that they were having, and they got caught up into it and they started gaslighting. In my life, it was an attempted murder on me. They just got caught up at, but these things, I react differently to these things because it's not the things in life. It's not the happy moments in life that trigger you. It's the sad moments in life. It's the painful moments. It's the painful moments and lessons in life that most people get triggered out. And those triggers are sensible clues to that we use not to get caught in those moments again in life. When I see those words, I just got caught up in it. As for me, I just, ooh, God, Yeah, hello, Red Pill Ghost. Says gaslighting is like that. They'll give you the weirdest excuse, and it's a coward's excuse out. And some people, yeah, I can forgive some people. If I can forgive my ex for that, if I can forgive my brother for that, even though he's in prison for the rest of his life, um, um, I can get over a lot of things in life. I can get over anything you can throw at me, pretty much. It just rolls off my back. But what I don't want to hear is why people can't take they can't be honest about these things. And it's always been one of the things in life where I found fascinating. Got some ginger tea because of my voice. I've been out in the cold. Um, One of the most fascinating parts of when you look at the FBI and you look at murderers and you look at people that do horrible things, sometimes you can understand why they do them. Sometimes you say, I've been in that position and I don't know if I would have popped. We look at soldiers that do horrible things, and I can relate to that. What would you do if you were in that position? What would you do if you were in extreme poverty? Would you make up lies to yourself to justify the reasons why you had to be violent to get out of your poverty? I've been there. I've been in extreme poverty after the events that took place in my life. I had nothing left, and at some points I feel bad because I had to up the Joe, and I can't. Yeah, and I know you guys can't imagine. I had to up that personality. I had to get ruthless. I had to get back on my feet. I could no longer go 5, 6 days without food. I had to become a person that was quite cunning in this world, and I had to rebuild everything about myself. And those things are interesting about human nature. Dogs do it, cats do it, wolves do it. We can look at these, when you get a wolf backed up against a wall, he's going to come out fighting. A lot of people lay down and die after things happen. A lot of people go away. A lot of people end up in mental institutions after terrible things happen and everything. But Mgtow, there's this spirit of men, and I see this from the beginning. The beginning ideologies of Mgtow is these men that have horrible things served to them. There's options, and one of the options is suicide, and one of the options is going away, going galt. But most Mgtows I see, they turn that anger and they turn that rage back on the society. They take that and they tuck it and they turn it back, and they start getting verbal about what they experienced. They start building a courageous attitude about their life. And these are the people that succeed in life. From my knowledge, from my observation on the world around me, you see these groups of people in your life, that get served bad things, and then you see them one by one fold and give in and fold and give in, and then you see that one guy that made it through. I'm that guy. You're that guy. Red Pill Ghost, that guy. Chieftain's that guy. You're all them guys. You have that spirit in you. If something was bad that was served to you, you don't internalize it and hold it, and then people just keep that down, and that becomes a cancer in your life. You get rid of it, and you toss it back at society, and essentially you spit it back out in their face, and you say, no, I'm not that kind of person. And I enjoy being around that kind of person in my life. That's why I'm so attracted to Mgtow. I think that's why the nature of the beast is not to take these things. We get honest. We start saying back what exactly happened. We dissect every little event in our lives, and we think about it, and we says, well, I'm not taking no excuses why people do that. Why the other gender does that to us. I'm not going to do that anymore. And more likely than not, we all come with these same conclusions. There's a few same conclusions that we all come to here in Mgtow, that there's 100 different excuses and why they do what they do, and there's a million different excuses, and there's 100 different ways to skin a cat, they say, but we're not following for them, and we're what we're really doing here in Mgtow is we're demanding accountability, respectability, and and responsibility. That's ARR, accountability, respectability, and responsibility. ARR. That's what I want them to err on the side of good. But we can't demand that from people unless we are those people that can I say be better, be a man above reproach, be a monk Mgtow. Don't put yourself in those positions, and then you can demand things from certain other people. You can demand that people be as good as you. You can demand that other people pay attention to the small details when it comes to your life, how they affect you, and then don't give me no excuses. And one of the excuses that I hear from people is, I just got caught up into it. See how I tailored that all the way back around? Uh, and but it's one of those excuses in my life I get triggered about, and it provides cognitive dissonance in my mind. I look at it. I like to examine these things. I like to examine people. It's what makes me me, I guess. And it's a fascinating part of human nature, is the excuses that they give. And like I said earlier, and I didn't go deep into it, with murderers and thieves and those things, and you see them go to jail. You see the headline, and you see the light dancing around the subject, but they never say, we sat down with John Smith and we asked him why he did that. Why did you do that? And there's always an excuse behind. That's where the true knowledge in life comes from. And that, why did you do that? You get to know people real good then. Even on the light subjects, with life, I always ask people, a guy was walking. He had a 2x4. He was supposed to carry it to this section, and I'm just kind of lightly giving you an analogy. And he turned and he went a different way. He got himself a cup of coffee, and by the time he got back, we're all standing there waiting for that. Yeah, we've been waiting. He said, I said, why did you do that? And he's like, I don't know. It's the interesting moments in life, from the little things in life to the big things in life, when you ask somebody why they did that. Why is that? And some people totally deny it. I was watching that commercial about it's the Progressive commercial, and the guy comes out of the bathroom, and the quarterback for the who is at the Green Bay Packers is sitting there with his insurance agent. He comes out and he says, hey, what happens if I just started a fire? And then he goes, well, weren't you just in there? He goes, no, I wasn't in there. But I see that a lot in life, when that and some people have this great ability. He says, how do you do that? And he says, I just meditated away. Some people have a great ability to meditate a lot of things away, without doing that soul searching deep down in their soul that Mgtows do. That's why we say, do that introspection in your soul and figure out why you've done some of the things you've done in life. And we stop giving silly excuses. And sometimes those silly excuses are harsh to other people, because we're all human, we're all animals, and that's just the truth. Sometimes we have to do things to survive. Sometimes we have to raise the Joe in us. We have to get down right. You put on those gloves and you go, man, I'm sick of losing. I am so sick of losing. And sometimes we get to those points, and when somebody asks you that question, don't give them a half-hearted answer on that. Why'd you do that, Joe? Because I'm sick of losing, because I got sick of getting thrown down, because I had to take something back for myself in life. Them are the perfectly good, honest answers, and it gives the person that it doesn't leave the person that you victimized in such a doubtful situation where there's cognitive dissonance in your brain, because that's gaslighting. If you double down on an evil deed and you start gaslighting people like that, you've all had it done to you, where someone left you empty and vague about what was going on in their life, what was going on, what was the reason for that. Leaving someone empty and vague, that's the real evil. That's the real evil, when you don't come out and become honest with yourself and become honest with the other people, and then you start gaslighting people, and that was real evil. And action, we've seen. I watched a movie from Eichmann last night. Eichmann, it was It's a new movie out. It tells the Eichmann. I don't know why they didn't bring in. They brought in a Hannah, and then they brought in it, but it wasn't Hannah Ardant that did the whole story and covered the whole story about Eichmann. And she had some interesting things to say about. I think she was an intellectually honest person, and that Eichmann had a lot of excuses why he did what he did, and they have photographs of him doing this. And Eichmann always claimed that it was orders, 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 because someone told me to do it. And that's where I get my my analogy of the workers of iniquity, the workers that there's a lot of workers of iniquity out in this world. Government workers, tax workers. We all complain about having to pay tax. Nobody really wants to do it. We had a war 216 years ago. I think somewhere around 246 years ago. Yeah, about 246, about taxes, and then how discomforting they were, how uncomfortable we were with them things, people, how uncomfortable we were with feudalism. What we were saying, feudalism was the driving force of all that stuff. And then now 216 years later, feudalism, or 246 years later, we got feudalism everywhere, and we got tax, but these things don't happen because there was one Eichmann. That's what I'm saying. One Eichmann doesn't. There's a whole machine and process that you have to do. There's a whole machine at work that puts you all where it puts you all. And that's true with Mgtow too. There's a whole machine, and the process of the whole machine works against us men. There's parts and pieces, and there's the workers of iniquity that make these things happen. And that's where I think Mgtow will make the most impact on this society, because we're all those little cogs. We're all those little workers of iniquity. Like I said, Eichmann had 30,000 little paper pushers under him that were some Jewish girls, some other girls, this kind of women, doing all that paperwork and stamping it and throwing it to the next person and stamping it, throwing it to the next person. And then these people went out after that, and they got the order, and they went out and collected up the Jews, and they brought them back. And then the same little girl stamped it and said, "Here it is, Mr. Eichmann." And those are the workers of iniquity. Those are the things in the machine, the cogs in the machine that make things happen. But Mgtow, we're like a wrench in the machine. We are this wrench in the machine. If you see something happening, throw your wrench into that. If you see this evil coming down the road for us, you throw your wrench in there and you slow it down. On those trains, I like to always ask, on those trains that brought the Jews in and everything, there's an oiler, and you're the oiler. You're the maintenance man here. And there's that oiler, and his job is to oil. And had the big oiler things, and they didn't have oilers like we got. They were air powered now, and they just oil in seconds, and grease, and we got better grease. And Henry Ford did a lot of work in lubrication, but they oiled these little trays, and then little trays drip down in there. If that one guy would have just not oiled the bearings, the trains would have never made it to the death camps. If that one conductor would have just said, "I don't know what's wrong, it's just not working." If one person in that whole cog of machines, if that little secretary sitting behind the desk had just thrown away some of those papers, millions and millions of people would have been alive today. And those are the workers of iniquity. They can never imagine going against the grain like a Mgtow. Those workers of iniquity could never imagine betraying that authority figure. And we know about authority figures and experiments we do. We talk about them all the time. We talk about these experiments, the Milgram experiments and that, and the electrocution. Just electrocute the guy because of authority figure told you. We see the video of the guy walking in, everybody's looking up, so he looks up. That's human. We just get aboard the train and we start doing that. And then when we're asked that excuse, why we helped out with that, why were you all aboard? And it's just what, and they'll go, well, I was told to do it. The Eichmann excuse. My leaders told me to do it, and I just got caught up in it. There was nothing I could do as a person to stop that. But no, that's not true. Each and every one of you Mgtows are doing that. Each and every you Mgtow's got to walk out into this world after this. And when you see something happening, you throw your big Mgtow wrench into that and you make it stop. Because if one oiler could have made a whole train full of people alive today, and one conductor or one little girl that stamped the papers could have made a difference back then with Eichmann, you could make a difference here, Mgtow. Every one of you could make a difference in what we do around here, what we do in the real world. You don't look in the face of evil and then say, I'm just a bored. I got caught up in it. I'm just doing this because, man, there's nothing else I can do. You take your big fat Mgtow wrench and you throw it in the gears and you slow it down and you go, oops, I don't know how that happened. I think it was that dude over there. But that's what Mgtow's about. And I think about these things a lot in my life. I think about how I sometimes was just aboard, all caught up on that train, stamping those papers, pushing that evil. Every one of us in life have a destination to do something truly great. Whether people see it or not, if a tree falls in the woods and no one's seen it, did it fall? Yes, it did exactly fall. I mean, nobody's got to see your deed. Nobody's got to, you don't get applause and that, like, like, what was his name? Milgram. You're just not going to get all that patting on the back and like, you're a genius, man. And we're going to write you down and put you in history. That's narcissism. Each and every one of us, from the biggest to the littlest, we can do our part. We can do a part to slow down this evil that's coming. And you know what it is. It's feudalism. It's out of control, predatory capitalism. It's a lot of different things. It's the battle between socialism and capitalism, free markets, and this, and it's the gender dynamics that we see every single day. And in your little part, where is your little part? Whether it is to speak up about some injustice you've seen, or are you going to be a person that, hey man, I'm just aboard. There's nothing I can do. I'm on the evil train and I can't jump off. No, you're not that kind of people. If you're here in Mgtow, you're one of those special people. You're one of those people above. You have a little morality. You have a little ethics. You see things that you don't like that are being done to men. You see the slavery. You see the outrage in that. And if you're not outraged, you're weird. I look at these people out there and I figure, man, if they're not outraged to what's happening in our society, if they're not feeling that political is personal and the outrage I sense when my taxes go up and my house taxes go up, and then I see all this other garbage going around. If you're not incensed, then that is a little weird. But each and every one of you Mgtows, you got a pretty good design in your head on how these things should work, and it should be a more equal, a better society where there's not all the drama and bullshit and garbage and all that, and it is not people that win because they're chosen. Everybody gets a chance at merit to be a billionaire. I was well on my way there at one time. But then I got the excuse. I got all caught up in it. That's what my wife told me. That's what my brother told me. That's what the people that were involved in that told me. Were my friends. They were the closest people in the world to me. Why do you guys poison me? Why do you guys try to kill me for my insurance policy? Why do you guys take my money and everything after that? Why do you guys steal everything? They said, I got all caught up in it. They were on fire with whatever they were doing. And I still don't to this other day. That leaves me vague and empty in my head for an excuse for what really happened there. And those are the things that are going to drive you nuts in this world. They're going to drive you absolutely bonkers and off your. I mean, for 10 years, it just came back every day. It's like, what? I was like, what? That's the stupidest excuse I've ever heard in my life. But those are the workers of iniquity that make things happen. It's always a train of people. It's always it's always a thousand. And in this society, there's the hundreds of thousands that they just go along with the way it's going. They're the sheeple, and they're stamping the stamps, and they're sending it, and they're rubber stamping it, and they're sending it down to the next person. And all they're doing is they're just ignoring what's on that paper, collect him up, make him a slave, send him to the ovens, gas him, kill him. But we all do our little part in here, and that's important, and that's why we're here. That's why we have to do this. I'm not a part of them workers of iniquity anymore. I'm not a part of that group. I rub against the grain. I'm a Mgtow. I ask truthful questions, and I expect truthful answers, and I expect that I say truthful things. And if I don't say truthful things, I apologize, and I look at it, and I say, oh, I was wrong about that. And I change a lot during from the time I came in here. If you look at my first videos, some things I don't believe in anymore. Some of those things I still believe in, but I changed it a little. I tweaked it, and I said, well, that's more right. That's more right. And I learn, and then I try to develop a manner of living that is worthy of this program we call Mgtow. And I try to be a worthy person in that program, and I don't get all caught up in garbage. We see it around these rooms, these whatever you call them, these gathering places for men. Men get all caught up in things. Before you know it, it's groupthink, and it's an ideology of groupthink, like the Bay of Pigs. They all thought that was going to come out great. And they all are like, yes, we're all aboard with this. And nobody said, do you think this was a good idea? That's groupthink. So we have to watch out for a few things, and Mgtow and groupthink is one of the things. Do you think that's a good idea? Do you think that most groups now, they put one rebel in the group because he's always asking? I think that's me. I'm not sure. It's like, you guys think that's a good idea? You think we should reconsider this? We think that maybe we should get a couple ideas and kind of run a mole, see which one works out the best, you know? Reminds me of the ball. Hey guys, reminds me of the ball and what was that movie, Fight Club? And then here's your assignment. You're gonna roll the ball roll a ball into the Starbucks and then the coffee shop. And he was just giggling, and he said some things about like, yeah, and then Bob died, and his name was Bob. And he was shaking his head, and his answer was, you guys think that was a good idea? You're all on fire with that shit, huh? Yeah, that was all intelligent and everything. That's groupthink. That's how groupthink works. We're all just agree, and some point we disagree in here in Mgtow, and it's a perfectly reasonable disagreements. We disagree sometimes on politics. You're allowed to have your own politics. I don't care what you are, whether you're independent, whether you're a Democrat, whether you're a Republican. You can choose your own policy. I'm sure you have your best interest in mind when you do those choices. We have a lot of different things we disagree on, and that's okay. That's America. We're allowed to all be different colors, you know. We're all allowed to all be different shades. We're allowed to all be different religions and political organizations. And I smile sometimes when when I see the other groups out there, and I say, yeah, you're allowed to do that. I'm not saying you're not allowed to do it, but please, God, try to be right. And that's our responsibility in here is please try to be right as Mgtows. And sometimes we argue these things endlessly in this endless loop of arguments and in groupthink, and it seems to go nowhere, but we're getting somewhere. And it's not an ideology or a philosophy or whatever you consider it that's going to grow up in maybe 2 weeks. I don't know. I don't know any philosophy that ever grew up in a week. And it's like, bam, I'm here on the world and making sense. No, that doesn't happen. Uh, but it is getting to a time where we got to more quantify our opinions on what we are and quantify exactly what we're for and quantify why we're here. Because if we let this thing go along, it'll just become obscurity and obscurantism, which I call it. And all we're doing, they're going, those guys, they're just obscurantists. And no one's going to take us seriously if we don't put a better effort into this thing. I remember when it first started, boy, a lot of people were on fire, and I felt good about it because it gave me a place to be. All this Mgtow and stuff was just, man, I'm just so on fire with this shit. I spent hours in a day just doing Mgtow, going from every site to every working on my web page, and then they took that down, and then they took down the next one. You weren't allowed to say those things back then. You had 100 raving maniac husbands saying, "You talking about my wife?" No, I'm talking about all women. They're all that way. And they didn't understand. And they all got mad at us. And we still see it today. We get hundreds and hundreds of trolls and hundreds of guys try to come around here and explain why we're wrong. And I think it's funny, and it's always been a little bit laughable, and you can sit back on the Mgtow bench and just point and laugh sometimes because you got to find entertainment in the absurdity of the thing sometimes. And that's important in life. You find absurdity in it, you start laughing. Sarcasm and humor keeps me going most of the time. I'm one sarcastic asshole. But if you don't find that kind of enjoyment in life, man, your life's going to suck. It's like, sometimes you just point and laugh and forgive people and you move on, and maybe you do a self-introspection that night like a monk would and say, where was my fault in this? What things do I got to sweep on my side of the street? And you keep your side of the street nice and tidy. And then when you do make a mistake, you're like, yeah, I'm going to continue sweeping that side of the street and try to make myself above reproach. I'm going to be that guy. I'm not going to. I never have to worry about women accusing me of anything because they can't get it through these doors. They can't make it in my life. None of them can. There's no closeness, no bonding, none of that garbage, those lies that human bonding, they lied to you about way back when you were a kid. You got this magical connection. Magical connection with another person. Yeah, that's what we're all searching for. Magic thinking gets us men into a lot of weirdness. And I just laugh at it. And when I see it, and I see it every day, every single day, them two lovers over there, they got that magic connection. They don't understand that it's just chemicals working in their heads, and it was turned on by bacteria. They shared with each other pheromones and bacteria. You know what pheromones are? This dead bacteria. That's why I say bacteria. It's a sort of symbiosis where they're going to produce a child and bring it into this awful world. My biggest regret is I apologize every time I see my son. I'm sorry I brought you into this awful place. I thought it was a good idea when I was 22. I don't think it's a great idea now. But we get some pretty ridiculous ideas in our heads as blue pill simps and that. I wanted to take the not smart enough to be Mgtow logo that I created and take that to how the blue pill simps to do that and how the white knights do that and them guys and how 90% of the society out there can't be a Mgtow because they're just never going to get it. And why is it that they just never get it? We have to start asking those questions, those serious questions. What are those serious questions? Why you like that, man? Why do you believe that? And it's always this delusion that they built, and they're never willing to be honest about the delusion in their brains. Why they believe in those magic thinkings. Why do you believe in things that aren't going to happen? The white picket fence and the wife with the apron with a pie and all that stuff. She's like, "Hey, honey, you're home and you're the greatest." Whew, never had that happen to me. It was usually some arguing, some fighting, and why I forgot to stop at the store, and the rug was dirty, and the kids were running around like maniacs, and she had just fed them 3 pounds of sugar, and she was on her way out because she wanted to whore around with her girlfriend, and they cooked dinner for them after I'd spent 10, 12 hours at work. That's marriage. That's the way it's going to be. There's a lot of biology in them there females, and you're going to have to learn it or you're going to get killed. And there's reasons why they do that. And them aren't the questions I ask myself. She needs to bring me slippers in my pipe. Yeah, that's right. The slippers in the pipe analogy. It's like, yeah, just like, who is that guy? Wally Cleaver's dad, it's like we get those things, and that's not true. And those things we drew up are just some myth from some religious fables that you've been taught, and they're cueing you down a line to put you in the grinding machine, like on that Pink Floyd album where they're all going tear down the wall, and then they're coming out as hamburger. Jesus, that's an awakening. That's an awakening album if you ever listened to it. I remember when that first came out, Pigs and Animals was the name of the album, and it's still a great album today, Pink Floyd. And I ran down to, it was a little, it used to be a big outlet. It was called Peaches, and Peaches was the record store, and I couldn't wait to get my check because I was working at 12 years old as a poor Irish boy. And then I tried to help out, but I was a little selfish little bastard too. And I ran down to the Peaches store with like $2 for the album, I think it was, which was outrageous at that time. And I bought it, and we played it for like a week over and over. And my father says, if I hear that again, I'm just going to smash it. Then, cassettes came out after that, and 8-tracks and VCRs and all that stuff. But I got to witness the whole thing. Yes, people, that is Dougie, the sound of Dougie's mouth barking at something that he out in the dark that he can see, but he doesn't know what's going on. So he's just going to continue barking. But life is a Mgtow. And I think one of the biggest lessons that we can learn in here is don't get caught up in the garbage. Don't get swept up in the excitement. Don't be one of those people that enter the whirlwind of craziness, and you get all caught up in it, and that's your only excuse why you did it. Why did I do that? I got all caught up in it. That shit was wonderful. I hear it from crackheads. I hear it from thieves. I hear it from murderers. I hear it from a lot of people. The excitement and human drama, and I just got caught up in it. We ain't that kind of men anymore, and maybe we're a little boring. Maybe we're a little anal. Maybe we're just nasty guys, and that's what I don't care if someone looks at me, but I don't get all caught up in the world anymore and their foolishness. And that's my message for today. I don't get all caught up in their foolishness anymore. The Pluto drama, the women's, the garbage. And I think it's a pretty good place to be. You're gonna you're going to bypass a lot of pain if you get it when you're a young man, 21, 22, 23, 30 years old, like most of you guys around here. I see Red Pill Ghost and MTMM, very young men, and Aaron and Aware Rabbit and Trent Marine and who else is in here? Who else is in here? Carolina Mgtow, and haven't seen Carolina for a while. Hey, Carolina, Joey, and I'm sure JK's floating around in here somewhere, and all the guys are just kind of floating on through and listening. But for the guys that don't leave comments, I'm sure I'm sure you're all those kind of people that know the difference. Sometimes you don't want to get back into that blue pill world, because man, that's a meat grinder. It's you get into that and they'll grind you up and spit you out, and you'll be looking like I did at the end going, what the heck was that? I didn't like that at all. That felt like someone stuck something in me. That's what I was thinking. Man, that felt like I was raped. I didn't like that at all. And I had thought there was going to be a wife standing there by the door when I got home with an apron and with some apple pie and like, it's warm. It's like, I'm like, yeah, baby. I thought that's what it was. Not losing everything and having some people try to kill me. I didn't see that coming. I really didn't see that coming. And I can laugh about it now, but for 10 years after that, I was a very sick man. Wow, was I sick. I lived in my van. There was no coming back from that. And certain things in your life, there is no coming back all the way. I wish I was the man I used to be. I wish I was that 270-pound solid brick steel worker, the sharp, that brain that was just so sharp, I wish I was that guy still, but no, that all ended because of that. But there are lessons in life, and I can get by it. And if I can get by that, you can get by anything. You can get by anything in life. And that's where we learn it here in Mgtow. You can get by anything. Let that shit roll off your back. It's like water off a duck's back for me anymore. I don't care what people do. I don't care what feminists do. I don't care what the social justice warriors are doing. I don't care what those people are doing. You know what I am? I'm that wrecker of machines. I'm going to throw that wrench in any machine I see that I don't like. I'm not one of those workers of iniquity oiling the train of death. If I see that, I'm throwing a wrench in it, and that's what each and every one of you guys are. Throw a wrench in that garbage. If you see it at work, if you see it in the government, if you see it in the police, if you see it in your community, if you see it in your family, throw a wrench in that shit and slow it down. At least you can say you tried then. Don't sit back and jump aboard. That's what I see with the MRAs. They're sitting back and they're jumping aboard that train. And they're trying to play the game, and that train's going down that line, and it's getting worse, and it's getting worse, and it's getting worse. And maybe we Mgtows do have to step up our game or get a little hostile, get a little more proactive on our behalf. Because I don't see this train slowing down, and every day I look at the news and I see more taxes, and I see more single male taxes, and I just see horrible people running things, and I see feudalism, and I see things that don't resemble capitalism at all. And I see people that are excluded from ever making it in our society based on the color of their skin or their origin. I see all those blocks coming back. I just read a story before I started. That was what I was going to talk about, this British neo-Nazi move, a group that's promotes this dystopian idea of a universal order and Nazism. They're running around everywhere. And now it's come to It's come to Britain and they're wondering why. Well, geez, guys, didn't you export it to America? But yeah, there's this one member of a neo-Nazi that suggested that Prince Harry should be shot. Now they're all like, "Oh, you want to shoot our prince?" Which is just really weird. Like it has, like they're just pretending like it hasn't been around forever. And no, you guys let it gone too far. You guys ain't Mgtows. You guys let it go too far. Now you're noticing it. Now it's coming back like backlash. Throw a wrench in that garbage when you see it. Otherwise, it's going to come back with backlash, and you're going to have neo-Nazis coming to your door, asking you what nationality you are. And I'm going to have to lie and say I'm Polish because I'm Irish, and I know they don't like me. Oh. Ah. But that's life, man. And I think we all do have a responsibility to our community and to our people to be those strong men, be those men that speak out, be those men that are above reproach, be those men that are just better, and speak out against all that garbage and voice it out there. And when it comes time for you to stamp that stamp and send it off to the next person, and you're going, it's just the way things are, and there's a queuing order here, and I'm just part of that queuing order. No, you're not. Throw that in the garbage, bust the stamp, and walk away. That's what we're saying in here. Bust that stamp and walk away. Go your own way, Mgtows. And that's the best thing you can do, is not participate. And I think I'm almost about done here with my rantism, as they call it. And I hope you enjoyed another episode of Traversable absurdity rantism, as they would say. And I hope you're all doing well. I have to go get Dougie and bring him inside. I gave him a bowl of spaghetti earlier, and I think he rather wants another bowl of spaghetti. Once a week, I love to give Dougie spaghetti, because what would it be like to go through life, a whole life, and never have a bowl of spaghetti? That's the way I think about it. Everybody yells at me about that, but you're not supposed to feed a dog that. Who says so? Question everything in your life. Dougie deserves a bowl of spaghetti once in a while, and I don't want to hear it that I'm not supposed to give him a bowl of spaghetti. That's just the way I do things. That's just the way I roll, as the kids would say. And that's my life. I'm not a part of the cog. I don't expect anybody else around here to be a part of that machine. Take your big ass Mgtow wrench and bust that machine to bits. And the sooner we do that, the sooner this garbage will end, and we'll all probably have better lives. Even the people that don't want it, they'll go kicking and screaming against it. But in the end, they'll benefit from it too. And that's all I got to say. Thanks a lot, Mgtows. And most of all, thanks a lot for being a Mgtow. Mgtow, each one and every one of you, you're the ones that matter. Get out there and throw a wrench in that machine. End evil, because it's everywhere. That's your job, Mgtow. Thanks a lot for listening. Thanks for being Mgtow. Mgtow.